This is the L2C Media Network. Bex, man, you and that cat of yours. Live from the Fred McLeod Sports Desk at the Tom O'Neill Studios, this is Steve Sporty Balls. And tonight, we got a great show for you. We're still presented by the L2C Media Network. And here he is. The 45 minutes to an hour of power, the fun and thrillers. It's time for Steve the Baxman Baxley. Hey, hi there. Good evening, everybody. Man, are we... There we go. Hey, how are you? Good evening, and welcome to another edition of whatever the hell this show's supposed to be called. Oh, yeah, that's right. The show is, this is Steve's Sporty Balls, and tonight we have some of the best in sports, some headlines, some details, and everything else. But first, let me say to those of you who survived daylight saving time, congratulations, you deserve this show. Anyway, excuse me. All right, what we got for you tonight? Very simple tonight. We got sports, and right now I think we're going to hit some sports for you. That's right. We're going to do sports. So if you're ready to do sports, so are we. And of course, as we all know, our sports scores are presented to you by the L2C. No, that's the main show. Okay. Hey, it's been a while. Give me a break. Okay. The scores are presented by Caesars Sportsbook and Casino. Remember, we are all Caesars, but even Caesars. Even Caesars have a limit. And if you need help, if you think you got a gambling problem, call the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700. That's 1-800-522-4700. We got some NBA action for you, so let's get on with the basketball portion of our showgram. We have 4 games still going on as we speak. Let's get to the scoreboard. Let's go for the games of updation. And we begin with the fourth quarter. 6:41 remaining in the final quarter. And the Sacramento Kings lead the Chicago Bulls in the 389. Just about midway into the fourth quarter, the Utah Jazz lead the defending NBA champ Milwaukee Bucks by a deuce, not a 5, not a 3. 7 minutes, 20 seconds left to play in the final quarter. It's Golden State Warriors 110. The Washington Wizards 9-9, and with 6 big old minutes left to play in the third quarter, it is the Toronto Raptors giving the LA Lakers fits. They lead 72-52. Finals in overtime, Cleveland Cavaliers shocked the Los Angeles Clippers 120-111. The Denver Nuggets beat up the Philadelphia 76ers 114-110. Atlanta Hawks over the Trailblazers 122-113. Charlotte Hornets over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 134 to 116. And finally, the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the San Antonio Spurs 149 to 139. And there you go, right there. Now, we don't have college basketball. They're in tournament time. So we go from one pro to the G League. That's right. Let's hit that G League, guys. Yes, indeedy. And let's get to the schedule. Okay, it's gotta. All right, there we go. You're kidding. Where's the Monday? Here's the Monday scores. Thank you. Okay, Monday night games. Oklahoma City Blue beat the Salt Lake City Stars 130 to 117. Lakeland Magic over the Windy City Bulls by a score of 116 to 107. College Park Skyhawks over the Westchester Knicks 126-101. Rio Grande Valley Vipers over the Birmingham Squadron 135-114. And the Texas Legends beat the Iowa Wolves 115 to 109. So there ye go, folks. All right. Believe it or not, that's all we got in the basketball. And of course, we do have some basketball news for you in just a moment. But right now, we're going to go from the hardwood to the hard fake synthetic ice. That's right. It's time. At least I hope it's time. Yes, it is. It's time for a little hockey report. And trust me, this is totally very little hockey tonight. In fact, there was only one game on the schedule. The Arizona Coyotes beat the Ottawa Senators 5-3. Krause for Arizona 3 goals. Norris for Ottawa 2 goals, and Wedgwood for Arizona 40 saves. There you go. Ba-bam. That is the pros. Let's let's see to alpha for you. We should have some tournament games for you, and the men and the women are not playing. There we go. You got to be kidding me. Oh boy. Okay, there we are. Now we got it all right. That's right. Let's give this a little rest. Don't forget, we will also be checking in with Gems Shock. And no games for women. So right now we're going to check in with the minor leagues. And that means we get to have some fun. That's right. And we start off our action with the American Hockey League. Let's hit ice and see if anything comes up. That's right, folks. By the way, just to let you know, Nick Ricada got some good tonight. You can watch on Ricada Law Channel, midnight Eastern, 11 Central. And there's only, I do believe, one game in the AHL tonight. And that one game just went final. Stockton Heat over the Bakersfield Condors. 3-1 was the final score. Okay, so now we go to the Ontario Hockey League. And there were 4 games on schedule for tonight. And here they are. Niagara over Ottawa by a score of 7-3. Hamilton over Oshawa, 3-0. London over Saginaw 6-5. Or is that 8-5? That's 6-5. I'll take that as a bet. Let's just London over Saginaw 6-5. Guelph over Erie by a score of 4-3, and that is your Ontario Hockey League scoreboard. Oh boy. Okay, and there you go, the Ontario Hockey League scoreboard. Let's hit up with the echo. Hear the echo of our barf. All right, let's get to the echo. When we get to the echo, you'll love it. All right. This thing is working now. Last night it was giving us a little fit. But boy, am I glad we fixed it up. Okay, apparently no games tonight in the Echo, so there's going to be some games tomorrow night. Let's stare at the Southern Professional Hockey League, also known as their Spiel. And here we go. Boom, 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 boom. No games for the Spiel either. Not until Wednesday, so they're done. Man, I got this feeling we're going to be in for about a 45-minute broadcast tonight. Okay, let's go to the Federal Prospects Hockey League, and we'll take a moment to do faint praise and tell you that they're back in action on Thursday. Hi, Uno. It's my cat, Uno. So that is going to be it for the Big Board of Joy, otherwise known as our hockey. We have about 30 minutes remaining on the broadcast. We're going to end at about 12:45. Let's get to our sports headlines, and we start off first with Major League Baseball. It has been 4 days since the owner-imposed lockout has ended, and the trades and free agent signings have not stopped since. So here's Monday's hot stove rumors as full squad workouts began at spring training camps across Florida and Arizona. The Rockies are very serious in their pursuit of slugger Chris Bryant, according to MLB.com's Tom Harding. Harding adds that Colorado has cast a wider net than just Bryant, however, with Rockies also holding a degree of interest in other middle-of-the-order bats like Kyle Schwarber and Michael Conforto. The 30-year-old Bryant is one of the top remaining free agents. He's a career .278, .376, .504 hitter with 167 home runs and 44 stolen bases. Bryant is capable of playing either third base or in the outfield, which should make him more attractive to teams. Rockies, of course, seem like an odd fit for him given their status as a rebuilding team. Still, perhaps Colorado envisions Bryant being the face of their franchise heading forward, ideally into a more competitive state. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays and Rays have remained aggressive in the Freddie Freeman sweepstakes in recent days. Mark Bowman reports from MLB.com. Freeman has had discussions with the Dodgers in recent days, and the Yankees have been involved since before the lockout, with Matt Olson going to the Braves. Freeman's days in Atlanta appear to be over. It's hard to see the Rays of winning a free agent bidding war for Freeman, who grew up rooting for the Dodgers in Southern California, and has ties to Ontario. Both his parents are from Canada, and he holds dual citizenship. Put that down. The Yankees, of course, could match or exceed any contract offer. Freeman would almost certainly have to leave money on the table to go to Tampa Bay. The Blue Jays are also making a push for Kyle Schwarber, according to John Heyman of MLB Network. The 29-year-old Schwarber split last season between the Nationals and the Red Sox. He batted .266, .374, and .554 with 32 home runs. He also took up a new position late in the season, first base. Now, it's unclear if the Blue Jays would continue to chase after Freeman if they landed Schwarber or vice versa. What is evident is that Toronto intends to add another big bat to its lineup. Meanwhile, the Brewers are in talks with free agent outfielder Andrew McCutchen, reports Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. Milwaukee already has a full outfield with Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, and Hunter Renfroe, though they lack a clear option at designated hitter. McCutchen would fill that void and allow the Brewers to rotate the four outfielders through the DH spot to keep them rested. 35-year-old McCutchen is no longer the MVP caliber player he was in his prime, though he remains an on-base threat who grinds out at bats and is a positive in the clubhouse. He also still has power, and the Brewers ranked 24th in baseball with a .396 team slugging percentage last year. McCutchen is a quality role player at this point of his career, and he can be had on a one-year deal. The Minnesota Twins are discussing starting pitcher trades with the Athletics, reports John Morosi of MLB.com. Sean Manaea, and Frankie Montas are the most likely candidates to go to Milwaukee now that Chris Bassett and Matt Olson have been traded. Twins brought in Sonny Gray in a trade with the Reds over the weekend, but still have need in the rotation. The A's still have several top trade candidates on the roster, including Matt Chapman, as well as Manaea and Montas. The Twins traded Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner Falefia late Sunday night, a move that cleared substantial payroll room in the next two seasons. They are poised to pivot and reallocate those dollars elsewhere. And for the rest, we invite you to go to cbssports.com. Mm-hmm. Okay, come on. Here we go. Okay. March Madness, while previously reserved for college hoops, is an appropriate way to sum up the craziness that is NFL free agency. On Monday, mere hours after Tom Brady announced his return following a 40-day, well, I'm going to say vacation. I'm not going to call it a retirement. A flurry of moves were agreed upon during the NFL's first day of legal tampering. Now, let's get to it. For quarterbacks, the Steelers land quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. That's right. They nabbed the top-rated quarterback in free agency and for a good price. 2 years, $14.25 million with up to $27 million in incentives. That is what the NFL Network is saying. A Pro Bowler in 2018 as a member of the Bears, Trubisky presents a formidable challenge to Mason Rudolph in the upcoming battle to be Ben Roethlisberger's successor. Got a grade of B. Dolphins signed Teddy Bridge. That's right. Teddy Bridgewater is back, and he gives Miami a very capable and experienced backup behind Tua Tagovailoa. The only possible concern here could be if Bridgewater practices and plays well enough to start a quarterback controversy. B plus. Chargers acquire Pro Bowl quarterback J.C. Jackson. Not a bad way. He will reportedly sign a 5-year, $82.5 million deal, so the pressure will be on. That got a B grade from CBSSports.com. Carlton Davis staying in Tampa following Brady's announcement. 4-year starter returns under a relatively affordable salary. 3-year, $15 million deal. Another win for Tampa. That gets them a B plus. Jacksonville's big day included the signing of Sheriff, a 5-time Pro Bowler and the top-rated offensive lineman in free agency. Now, while Sheriff's is an elite player, the Jags will reportedly pay $84 million. That's over 4 years. To a player who hasn't played in more than 14 games in a season since 2016. That's an A minus right there. Packers have made a reuniting. That's right. Offensive linebacker Devondre Campbell came back. That's right. Keeping Campbell was critical to the Packers, who on Monday decided to part ways with Zadarius Smith. Now, while he was sensational in 2021, Campbell needs to play up to his new contract in 2022 and beyond. That, my friends, is a B. All right. The Jets' big money included the signing of Tomlinson, a 2021 Pro Bowler who is a staple on the 49ers offensive line for the last 5 years. Tomlinson should help provide much-needed protection for Zach Wilson. Christian Kirk hit a jackpot in Jacksonville, and he didn't put one coin in a slot. 25-year-old receiver who appears to be coming into his own as a big-time player. But the price tag, reported 4 years for as much as $84 million, is way too much money for a receiver who is yet to top 1,000 yards in a season. Jacksonville gets a D minus. Wow. The Eagles were able to acquire a 27-year-old linebacker who racked up 23.5 sacks and 8 forced fumbles over the past 2 years. They did so without breaking the bank, as Reddick comes to Philadelphia for a reported $45 million over 3 years. This is Hanson Reddick, not the race car driver Reddick. Also in free agency news, Quandre Diggs stays in Seattle. His new deal is $13.3 million. That is more than what he would have under the franchise tag, which was $12.9 million. All right, Ryan Jensen returns to Tampa. Dolphins retain Emmanuel Ogbah. Foyesade Oklum headed to Jacksonville. There you go. Panthers pounce on Austin Corbett. Rams retain Joe Noteboom. Alex Capra coming to Cincinnati. Yes, sir. Rams to bring back Brian Allen. That's not the comic. Ben Jones staying in Nashville. Justin Reed lands in Kansas City. C.J. Uozma headed to the Big Apple. The Dolphins will land Cedric Wilson. Not bad. And Tim Seattle signs with Buffalo. Yes. That is, I'm going to say it, that is incredible. So there you go. Right there in the news bomb. Okay, let's keep going with the headlines here. Greg Popovich isn't going to coach San Antonio Spurs forever. The winningest coach in NBA history is now 73. And with that, win records now are in the rearview mirror. The 5-time NBA champion is running out of reasons to steward his rebuilding team. Whether it's this offseason or the one in the near future, the Spurs are going to have to look for a replacement. Now, San Antonio once had a plethora of in-house candidates to consider, Many have left for different jobs. Uh, Udoka now coaches the Boston Celtics. Becky Hammon left for the Las Vegas Aces. Tim Duncan spent just the season on the coaching staff before returning to retirement. Many of the best coaches in the NBA have ties to the Spurs, but many are otherwise occupied. Six of the top seven teams in the league by record are coached by someone who has either coached under Popovich, played for him, or worked for the San Antonio organization in some other capacity. Obviously, those coaches are going to be hard to steal. So there you go. All right. Let's get to this one. And it is a sad day for all of us wrestling fans. Professional wrestling legend Scott Hall, a two-time WWE Hall of Famer and a founding member of the NWO faction, died Monday. He was 63. Hall had been placed on life support after suffering a series of heart attacks and developing a blood clot following a planned hip surgery. Early Monday morning, Hall's longtime friend and tag team partner Kevin Nash posted on Instagram that Hall would be removed from life support at Wellstar Kenstone Hospital in Marietta, Georgia, once Hall's family could be in place. The WWE confirmed Monday night at the start of its Raw TV program that he had died. One of the most charismatic and captivating wrestlers of the 90s and early millennia, Hall wrestled for several promotions from the mid 80s with short stints at WWF and WCW, along with a successful run in the AWA before catching on more permanently in WCW as the Diamond Stud. However, he first rose to prominence in '92 when he signed with the WWF and debuted as Reza Ramon, character that oozed machismo and was influenced by Scarface. Now, as Razor, also known as the Bad Guy, Hall became one of WWF's top stars with 4 Intercontinental Championship reigns during his tenure with the company. He also starred alongside Shawn Michaels in one of the most influential matches in wrestling history, a legendary ladder match to determine the true Intercontinental Champion of WrestleMania 10. While Hall and Nash, known as Diesel in the WWF, had worked together previously in WCW, it was during their early 90s WWF stint that they became close friends. The pair were famously part of a backstage group of wrestlers known as the Clique, a group that was not used in WWF storylines, but also included Shawn Michaels, Paul Levesque, otherwise known as Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Triple H, and Sean Waltman, the 1-2-3 Kid, Stick, and X-Pac. Hall and Nash jumped to WCW in mid-1996, appearing as an evading force called the Outsiders, looking to take over the promotion. That set in motion WCW's eventual 83-week domination of WWF in the Monday Night Ratings War. Hall and Nash would soon be joined by Hulk Hogan to form the New World Order, one of the greatest stables in professional wrestling history. Now, in addition to their formation of the industry-changing NWO, Hall and Nash won the WCW tag titles 7 times. Hall also had 1 tag team reign alongside the Giant, Paul White, the Big Show, as well as 2 runs as WCW US champion and 1 as WCW TV champion. Now, during his wrestling peak, Hall also battled drug and alcohol addiction, which were issues he would continue to fight for much of his life. After late career stints with WWE and TNA, Hall retired from active competition in 2010 when he was released from his TNA contract amid legal trouble stemming from an alcohol-related incident in a bar in Florida. Hall made a push to get his life back on track by rehabbing physically and mentally with a friend and former WCW wrestler, Diamond Dallas Page. Hall moved into Page's home where he had strengthened his sobriety and repaired his body. Page also helped Hall raise money for a needed hip replacement in 2013. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame 1 year later as Reza Ramon. He was inducted again in 2020 alongside Nash, Hogan, and Waltman as part of the NWO. Before we leave the air tonight, I'm going to read to you my little tribute. to Scott Hall. So stay tuned for that. Okay, and by the way, we just did a story about Greg Popovich, and there are words as to who might be his replacement. Yes. Well, let's see here. One name keeps popping up. According to Mark Stein, Utah Jazz coach Quinn Snyder is now rumored to be a candidate to eventually replace Popovich. Now, on paper, it makes plenty of sense. After a failed tenure at the University of Missouri, Snyder made his return to pro basketball as head coach of the Austin Toros, San Antonio's G League affiliate. He even landed in Atlanta under another Popovich disciple, Mike Budenholzer, before becoming head coach of the Jazz. Now, for a Spurs team that would seemingly prefer to hire within the family, Snyder makes plenty of sense. Of course, Snyder is currently under contract with the Jazz, and the traits that make him such a desirable candidate are the traits that will likely keep him in Utah. Snyder has won over 58% of his games with the Jazz and currently leads a contending Utah roster. If the Jazz don't want to let him go, they're going to have to bring out the Brinks truck. Okay. There we go. Very good. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, let's get you some media news from the sports world. Oops. There we go. Boom. There we are. Thank you. Okay, the LA Dodgers have made some significant additions for their local broadcast this year on Spectrum Sportsnet LA, English language radio partner AM 570 LA Sports, and Spanish language radio partner KTNQ 1020 AM. The team announced 5 new hires Monday, including former ESPN MLB analyst Jessica Mendoza, former players Adrian Gonzalez, Eric Carros, and Dontrell Willis, and prominent former LA Angel announcer Jose Mota. And the release says and explains it all. The LA Dodgers announced the addition of 5 new broadcasters that will serve various roles on the 2022 Spectrum Sportsnet LA broadcast and studio teams, the AM 570 LA Sports Radio broadcast and Spanish radio broadcasts on KTNQ 1020 AM. We've already mentioned the new hires. The 5 will join the current broadcast lineup, which includes Hall of Fame Jaime Herron, Joe Davis, Oral Hershiser, Fernando Valenzuela, Charlie Steiner, Rick Monday, Nomar Garcia Parra, Pepe Yinguez, Jerry Hairston Jr., John Hartung, Tim Neverett, and Christian Watson. Now, the release notes that Gonzalez will be a pre- and post-game analyst for both English language radio and TV, while Mendoza and Carros will each call select TV games as analysts alongside Davis. Willis will also slide into calling selected TV games alongside Davis, and he'll appear on the English language radio and TV pre- and post shows as well. Meanwhile, Mota, who spent the last 20 years working for the Angels in both English and Spanish, and whose father, Manny Mota, played for the Dodgers, will provide play-by-play for selected English and Spanish radio broadcasts this season. He's very good, yes. Now, this is quite the broadcast team the Dodgers are building, especially when their returning figures are also factored in. And the addition of Mendoza is perhaps particularly notable, considering that this organization once complained about her covering them as a broadcaster, while she also had a role with the Mets. That issue was 3 years ago, though, and Mendoza gave up her Mets role in 2020 to focus on broadcasting with ESPN. She's now joined a large number of people who work for ESPN, as well with other broadcasters, and that's perhaps necessary with ESPN cutting its numbers of MLB broadcasts and many of those games moving to Apple and Peacock. At any rate, the Dodgers have added some interesting names here, and they'll have a lot of prominent people, new and returning, appearing across the various TV and radio broadcasts, We'll see how this all works out in the end. Okay, in Fast and Furious, Al Michaels reportedly at the half-yard line on a deal to call Amazon's full 16-game Thursday Night Football package. Skip Bayless says his wife fears Charles Barkley would have my blood on his hands. Stephen A. Smith tells Bomani Jones journalists must be fearless in pursuing the truth. Michael Wilbon tortured Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving during an epic rant. The vaccine is not about attention. Let's see. Clint Boyer was the latest sports media person to have their Twitter account hacked. And let's see what else here. Iowa and Indiana featured an alarming number of fecal-related broadcasting mishaps. And those are your headlines right there. I'm saying that because we are looking at the time check. Boom. And thus and therefore, let's get you over where we can do a lot of good. And that is with, yes, friends, the scores from Monday's big soccer games. Premier League action, Crystal Palace, Manchester City ended in a goose egg tie. In the Scottish Cup quarterfinals, Celtic over Dundee United 3-0. Irish Premier Division, Bohemians and Shelbourne tied at 1. Derry City defeated Drogheda United 2-0. Dundalk and Shamrock Rovers couldn't decide on anyone scoring, so they ended up in a goose egg tie. Sligo Rovers beat the Finn Harps 3-1. And St. Patrick's Athletic defeated UCD 2-0. Spanish La Liga action, Real Madrid over Mallorca 3-0. Italia Series A, Lazio over Venezia 1-0. Aalborg over Odense Sport Club 3-2 in Danish action. In Portugal, Sporting Lisbon over Moreirense 2-0. And in Turkey, Antalyaspor over Istanbul Başakşehir 1-0. Galatasaray over Beşiktaş 2-1. Rizespor over Gaziantep 2-1. And that means that leaves us one thing left to do, and that is our international sport, which always wraps things up for us. Of course, we will also update you on Gemshock. So let's get to the Royal Looky Loo, and here we go. Let's see. Okay. I got it right. Crystal Palace, Manchester City ended in a goose egg tie. We gave Lazio and Venezia, Mallorca and Real Madrid. Yep. Okay, let's give you an update now on the games of the NBA. In the 11th minute of the fourth quarter, Milwaukee Bucks lead the Utah Jazz 113-109. And in the 9th minute of the fourth quarter, the Toronto Raptors continue to burn the Los Angeles Lakers. Their lead now 106-93. In other basketball from Italy, it was Varese over Basket Napoli 82-74, and Valencia over Manresa in Spain 90-85. All right, we got Extraliga playoffs in the Czech Republic. Milady Vosov defeated Plzeň 5-3. Comet Brno over Liberec 4-2. Olomouc over Victorice 3-2. Pardubice over Karlovy Vary 3-2 in overtime. Excuse me. Speaking of overtime, in Sweden, Timrå defeated Luleå 4-3. Now let's go to baseball and the Nippon Professional Baseball League. and we go like this, then all three games are still going on. In the second inning, Yakut Swallows lead the Yokohama Bay Stars 2-0. Also in the second inning, the Rakuten Golden Eagles lead the Oric Buffaloes 3-0. And in the third inning, Hiroshima Carp over the Chibalati Marines 2-1. Okay, before we go to our final segment, I think we did this last night, but it bears repeating. And it does. It does. Yes, it does. Winner in Phoenix was Chase Briscoe. And that is a good thing. So Chase Briscoe won in Phoenix. All right. Baby, it's all right. Okay, let's as we all know, Scott Hall passed away, took his final breath today. And so tonight, I did this tribute to him on my Facebook page. I like to read it to you right now. Your wrestling's own Tom Selleck, tall, athletic, the wrestling machine, from indies to the big time, AWA to WCW. Your tag team partner, you may have been perfect, but your next partner was a diesel. Your next partner was a diesel, and you were a razor named Ramon. You were outsiders through and through, the tough guys in a land of giants. You conquered many a hill. You gave fans a true thrill every week. But even the good guys have their weaknesses. But you fought your demons and survived. Tonight, wrestling fans bow their heads in silent remembrance and inner thought. The bell tolls a somber 10. A lone spotlight shines in the center of the ring. A heavenly trumpeter plays a lone note. Tonight, we lost the legend of the ring, a creative soul who had it all and shared it with the world. Tonight, the tall figure of a man stands at the gates of heaven and in a deep voice says, "Hey, yo," to St. Peter, who opens the Golden Gate. Rest in paradise, Scott Hall. Rest in paradise. For all of us here on Steve's Sporty Balls, I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley saying thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll give you the time and the place on Facebook and on Twitter. But for now, for everybody here, I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley. You have a great rest of your evening and early morning, and we'll see you all tomorrow night, probably either 11:30 or midnight. We'll let you know. This has been a presentation of Mystifying Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports. For now, that's all from Jackson at this time. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night, and be well.